Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am happy to be here with you today. And in today's video, I'm asking your spirit guides what blessings are coming in for you. And this video is intended to be timeless, so whenever you click on it, that is when you are meant to see it. So with that said, let's get into today's reading. Hello there, Pile 1, and welcome to your reading. If you chose the cute blue owl with the green wings, then this will be your reading for today. And today I've asked your spirit guides what blessings are coming in for you. And I want to start by saying that when I was shuffling your cards, I was feeling a lot of anxiety. So I don't know if that's if I was picking up on your energy or if that was something to do with me. I don't know. I just wanted to mention that in case that resonates with anybody. I want to say that judging by your cards today, I can understand why you might be feeling anxious right now. However, you do have some awesome things that are coming your way that I think will help you feel a little bit less anxious. So with that said, let's get into the tarot cards. So the first card for you today is the Queen of Swords. And as soon as this card came out, the word that popped into my head was clarity, because the Queen of Swords is someone who sees their situation very clearly. You can see that she's kind of sitting, I like to imagine that she's sitting at the top of a mountain, and she's kind of on an outpost, kind of surveying her domain there, and I would say she's somebody who has like an eagle eye. She's known to be highly intelligent and an excellent communicator, and I think in the context of what blessings are coming in for you, I would say that one of your blessings is that you're going to be able to be in this Queen of Swords energy of somebody who is very self-assured, very intelligent, has a clarity of purpose, is able to communicate their needs and intentions very clearly, and is able to make logical and rational choices based on whatever is the best course of action at the time and not based on an emotional reaction, which is kind of the Queen of Swords superpower, if you want to put it that way. And I also want to point out that, the woman on this card is sitting in a way that leads me to believe that she is very calm. She knows she's the queen. She's sitting there in kind of a zen attitude, looking out. She doesn't have too much to be worried about because she's assured of her own ability to make decisions and to see things clearly. So I would say if that's something that you're struggling with, if that anxiety that I was feeling is your current energy, I would say that one of the blessings that's coming in for you is you're not going to feel that way forever, and probably pretty soon, because this is the first card that came out, probably sometime fairly soon, you're going to be able to have a more calm and clear mindset. And I can go into further explanation about why that might be in the other tarot cards here. So we do have the Two of Pentacles. And what's funny is that I decided that I didn't want to take reversals in this reading because I wanted to talk about blessings rather than challenges or blocked energy. And your spirit guide still managed to communicate something that might be a potential challenge anyway. So with the Two of Pentacles, it's not necessarily a negative message. It's just a card about multitasking and specifically about juggling. You can see the person the card's kind of juggling, and I think in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, somebody is also juggling. And this card's about balance, and that can mean finding a work-life balance, or it can mean, because it's a Pentacles card, it can mean having to multitask a lot at work or being given a lot of new opportunities, and it could be like in a positive way, like maybe you've been promoted, or maybe people are recognizing your capability and are giving you more projects to work on. Maybe you're self-employed or a creative and you've been discovered in some way, and people are blowing up your phone to give you work, and that's all a positive thing. However, it can become overwhelming. And so with this card, there is a bit of a subtle message here that it's okay if it does become overwhelming, if it does become something where you feel like you're in danger of dropping one of the balls you're juggling. It's okay to reach out for help in that circumstance. And again, this is not a negative card. If we're talking in the context of the blessings that are coming in for you, it's actually a pretty positive card, because I would say this card is saying, whatever you're working on, whatever the nature of your financial situation is or your career situation, things are about to get very busy for you in a positive way. So I wanted to mention that, even though we are talking about blessings, and the Two of Pentacles is an exciting card to have because it talks about a lot of new opportunities coming in, and perhaps to the point where we're juggling a lot more things than we usually do. The Knight of Pentacles I'll start off by saying the Knights of the deck are usually like a cardinal energy. Like, it's usually an action-oriented energy. For example, like the Knight of Wands, very fast moving. The Knight of Swords, very fast moving. The Knight of Cups, somebody's, coming in with a romance offer probably pretty soon. And the Knight of Pentacles does have that energy. However, he's not really worried about getting to where he's going at a specific time. If you'll see on this card, this knight he's not even on his horse. Like, he's like, I don't need to gallop off somewhere. I'm going to get where I need to go in my own time. And he's taking his shoes off, and he's enjoying the feeling of the grass on his feet, and he's really kind of enjoying the journey and taking it like literally one step at a time. And that's working for him because, as you can see, he has abundant pentacles. He has all, he's not worried about it. He has all the resources that he needs. And so in the context to your reading today, what blessings are coming in for you, I do see like this is a messenger of financial abundance and of having all the material resources that you need, and of being able to make those things happen for yourself. In addition to the message of the Knight of Pentacles is taking the practical steps every day to make sure that you're going to make the most out of your journey. And that this card does carry a self-care message, and it's in that sense of building a healthy routine for yourself. Because this knight is taking it one step at a time. He's not worried about when he's going to get there. He's focused on putting one foot in front of the other, doing things very methodically, being dedicated to making incremental progress, but he's not rushing anywhere. And so when this card comes out, it's the message of your spirit guides wanting you to focus on having a healthy routine, doing the necessary self-care things every day, making sure, even with the Two of Pentacles here, making sure to balance, like work-life balance, make time for taking care of your body, mind, and soul, in addition to taking care of the practical needs of working and doing errands and all that stuff. And in the, if we want to bring it back to the context of the blessings that are coming in for you, I think the basic message is, because this Two of Pentacles is coming in with probably a lot more busyness in terms of your work life, whatever that means for you, I think with the Knight of Pentacles here, this is Spirit's way of saying, yes, there's going to be a lot. However, you are going to find a way to manage it by managing your routine, by staying on top of doing things one step at a time, methodically, knowing that you're going to get wherever you want to go when you're meant to get there, and you're not going to have to worry about your financial abundance along the way. So definitely a positive message in these cards about financial abundance, probably because of having more work or having more work opportunities, to the point where you can be as unworried as the Knight on this card is about your financial abundance. So that's a fantastic message, and I love that. And it also, because it's a Knight, is talking about moving forward, which leads us into our next two cards and the Chariot card here. I want to say I love this card. This is my favorite card in the Light Seer Tarot deck, and I never see it. It never comes out for me. I don't know why. I almost never see this card. So I was delighted when it came out for you guys. And it is a major arcana, and it does carry a message of being able to move forward because we're standing in our power and we know exactly where we want to go. And I can see that message reflected in the clarity of the Queen of Swords, like knowing which way to go. And because the Knight of Swords hasn't rushed into anything. They've taken the time to think things through, to figure out, what path do I want to go down? Which way do I want to go? I'm not going to rush into anything. I think the combination of those two is going to take you to an energy where you're going to be able to do what this guy is doing on the Chariot card and take control of the direction of your life and whatever that means for you. I think that it's interesting to point out that we don't know where this chariot is going because we're not looking at this person's destination. We're looking at them, right? And so there might be a message here that you're going to have this self-assuredness and self-confidence and clarity of purpose to be able to decide where you want to go, even if it's somewhere new, even if it's somewhere unknown where you don't know the path or you might not be able to clearly see the path. You're still able to make the decision about how to move forward and feel really self-assured and in control about it, which I think is beautiful. It's really nice to have that sense of purpose that I'm seeing with the Chariot card. And the card that we have right after that is another one of my favorite cards. I just love the colors on it, which is the Eight of Wands. And the Eight of Wands it's talking about like really fast moving energy and really fast moving manifestations. And the way that I'm being called to interpret this card is because you're in this chariot energy where you're the one in charge of where your chariot goes, you're also the person holding all 8 of these wands. And you have the power to use that to very quickly manifest the things that you want into your life. They're going to, once you get through whatever this abundance of financial opportunity, abundance of work opportunities, whatever this Knight of Pentacles, focusing on your daily routine, taking one step at a time, getting to that clarity of purpose, getting to the point where you're able to climb onto your chariot and say, I want to go here, I want to achieve this, and I'm going to do that. Then things, or what you really want out of life, is all going to start coming in extremely quickly for you. So these are the blessings that I'm seeing coming towards you as of right now. And with that said, let's jump into the second part of your reading, which will be your oracle cards. All right, pile 1. So here we have your oracle cards. And I want to start with the Chakra Wisdom Oracle deck. And so for your 2 cards here, we have Quest, which is associated with the throat chakra, and we have Instinct, which is associated with the crown chakra. And I thought the Quest card was really interesting because when I was reading the description in the book, it was talking about like being your own quest giver, if that makes sense. Like a quest giver in a video game is somebody who an NPC you'd walk up to and, they start a dialogue thing and then they'd give you a quest to do like XYZ and then you'd go and do it and then you'll get experience points and whatever. But I see the message of this card as being like you can be your own quest giver. You can find purpose and meaning in yourself. Like you can give that stuff to your own life. And there's also another message with this card about your life only having meaning when you get somewhere else. So it's like I'm only going to find my purpose when I go over there. And that's opposite to the advice of this card, which is that you can find, as I said, you can give yourself the quest. You can find the meaning of your current life path inside yourself, where you are right now. And I think because that's the message of this card, there might be advice here from your spirit guides that the way to get to your Queen of Swords, where you do have clarity of purpose, would be to meditate and to try to communicate. The throat chakra is about communication, and the Queen of Swords is about communication. So there's kind of like a double communication message there. Might be saying you need to communicate with yourself more and connect with your own inner knowing. And I'm seeing that emphasized here by the Instinct card, which again is connected to the crown chakra. So with the connection of these 2 cards here, the Quest and the Instinct card, might be saying the way to get to your chariot moment is to go internally, because you might already have access to the information that you want, and you might already know innately the path that you want to go down, but for some reason that information might be being blocked, maybe intentionally or unintentionally. Maybe there's too much going on with that Two of Pentacles. Maybe you're a little overwhelmed with the material world and you might not be paying attention to your inner knowing. And so I think if there is advice in these cards, it would just be to pay some more attention to that. And once you do, that's when we're gonna see all those blessings with the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles and the Chariot. Like it's all gonna come together. And that's like part of the blessing, is the ability to trust your own inner knowing, to trust your own instincts, and to communicate with yourself and with your spirit guides. I think is a great way to get there. And then with your Starseed card, it says, you got the love, Hadarian energy, codependency, boundaries. And so this card might be an acknowledgement from your spirit guides that maybe codependency is something that you have been struggling with, and maybe learning how to establish and enforce healthy boundaries has been a challenge for you. And I can tell you, I've been there. It is not easy to go from being a people pleaser to going to a place where we feel self-assured and able to enforce our boundaries. And so I wanted to also say that this card, like the passage in the guidebook about this card, does talk about the need for self-discovery, self-love, self-validation, and the idea that you need to be able to love yourself first and then set those healthy boundaries in order to have healthy, non-codependent, or like not codependent, interdependent, that's what we want, relationships with other people in your life. So I think that this is kind of a reflection of the message of the Quest card, that the love and meaning and validation that you may have been searching for, either currently or maybe in the past, is something that you are going to be able to, or you have already started to give to yourself. And that's a huge blessing. That is a life-changing blessing. And that's going to help you bring in the abundance and inspiration that we saw in your tarot cards. And then we have your Moonology cards. And the first card here is the Void of Course Moon. Nothing will come of this situation. And I do get nervous in my own readings when this card comes out, even though I know it doesn't necessarily have the meaning that, we might intuitively think it does. Because nothing will come of this situation can mean two things depending on how you're looking at it. Yes, it can have the meaning that something that we were hoping would happen a certain way is not destined to end up that way. However, it can also be talking about our fears and our anxieties and our worries. And it can be a message that we don't have to worry about this thing happening because nothing's going to come of that situation. It's not something that we need to be concerned about. And there is a message when this card comes out to take a hard look at the situations in our life and be honest with ourselves about whether we're really seeing the situation as clearly as we could be. And as with the Quest card and the other cards here, I think there's an additional message with this card about the need to meditate and to connect with your spirit guides, because there might be some expectation here that's not going to be met either way, in terms of maybe something you're hoping for or something that you are afraid of. This card is saying it's not going to turn out, whatever the situation is, it might not turn out the way that you are thinking it will. And a way to get to the outcome that you do want is to get to this energy where you're connected to your instincts and your inner knowing and your connection to spirit, and you're able to be your own quest giver because you're thinking clearly. You're in that Queen of Swords mindset, because the Queen of Swords is very clear on whether or not something is going to come of this situation. So I hope that's helpful. And then we also have the new moon in Virgo, and it says a time to give rather than take. And in the context of your reading, especially with this this codependency, needing the need for self-love and putting our own gas mask? It's a gas mask, right? Oxygen mask. Putting our own oxygen mask on first. I would say the way I would interpret that phrase, a time to give rather than take, is it's a time to give to yourself rather than take from yourself. With everything else here. However, this card in the book does specifically talk about the need for self-care and the need for establishing a healthy routine, because that's a very Virgo thing to do. And there's a need for a focus on physical health, and that could just mean, making sure to eat more nutritious foods and maybe spend some time outdoors, maybe go for a walk, taking care of our body, getting more sleep, doing any form of self-care is probably a good idea at this time when you see this card. And so I think this card's, if these oracle cards are advice from your spirit guides, I would see this card as a reiteration of the advice that I was talking about with the Knight of Pentacles, and a confirmation of the message on the Starseed card that, you don't have to. I'm just in the context of the reading, taking the time to establish a healthy self-care routine and balance in your everyday life, and taking it one step at a time, and learning how to give yourself the wisdom and guidance that you might be looking for in other places is a blessing in itself. The ability to learn how to do that is a blessing in itself, and doing all of that stuff is going to help you figure out how to find meaning in what you're doing, where to go next, and it's going to bring in all of this material abundance that I was talking about with those pentacle cards. So I want to say I think this was a very positive message for you today, Pile 1. And if you like this reading and it resonated for you, please give it a like. Feel free to comment and let me know whether it did resonate with you or not. And if you have any video ideas, I would love to hear those. And please feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me. And I hope to see you in my next video. So thank you very much, Pile 1. Hello, Pile 2, and welcome to your reading. Today I have asked your spirit guides about what blessings are coming in for you, and I can tell just by looking at the cards that you are going to be seeing some quick success, no matter what you're doing, and there might be a bit of confusion or turmoil along the way. However, you will get to a place where you're in a high vibrational energy where you're able to manifest pretty much whatever you want. That's just what I'm seeing on a basic first pass of the tarot cards that we have here. So I am going to go through your cards. We have the Six of Wands, the Eight of Wands, the Ten of Wands, the Queen of Wands, and then the Magician. So, I mean, already that's that's a lot of Wands energy, which you might be a fire sign, you might not. This might just be a more fiery time in your life, maybe a time in your life when you are feeling inspired. And the way that I'm being called to interpret these cards is as a bit of like a progression. Like when I asked what blessings are coming in for you, I didn't give a specific time frame. I intended it to be like, soon. With the Eight of Wands, I do see blessings coming in for you soon. However, I do see, because there are 5 cards, I see it as a progression that tells a bit of a story. There's a little bit of a narrative here. So we're going to start with the Six of Wands. And the Six of Wands is success. And it can talk about being celebrated. You can see the figure on this card is like, yes, I've made it. And there are spotlights on her. And there's, I don't know if you can see, but there are like little spectral hands kind of waving from the crowd. So there is a message here that if it's something that you're interested in, that you might have some sort of platform. You might be on the internet, you might be an influencer of some sort, or it could just be talking in general of success and being recognized in some way. You're being recognized for your successes and for your achievements. And so that's definitely one of the blessings that's going to be coming in for you. That's a very positive message, and it's probably going to be coming in fairly soon because we have the Eight of Wands, which is all about very fast moving success. So I would see both of these cards being here together as, I think once the ball starts to get rolling in terms of you becoming recognized and receiving accolades from other people, receiving recognition, even if that, even if you're not an influencer, or you're just, even if you have like for example, like an office job, it could be that you're being recognized for your hard work in some way. And I see, like, once that ball gets rolling, it's quickly going to pick up momentum, and you're going to get more and more recognition, more and more success, maybe more opportunities coming towards you. It's going to be a time when you're feeling really inspired, and you're able to bring a lot of that creative energy towards whatever it is that you're doing, which is fantastic. That's a very beautiful energy. It's a beautiful card, the Eight of Wands. I love that card in this deck. And I do also want to mention the Eight of Wands did come up for pile 1, so there might be messages for you in that pile if you want to check it out. And I will say, what I said for pile 1 was that I could see the Eight of Wands, all 8 of the wands being in pile 1's hand as they were taking the power to manifest this. With you, I'm getting the energy, that could be true for you too. However, I am getting a message that it could also be because you are receiving recognition with the Six of Wands, could be that other people are clamoring towards you to help you out in terms of maybe collaborating with you, and in just whatever sense applies to you, being willing to work with you to help you achieve your own success, and perhaps, achieve success of their own. It's like a co-creation kind of energy, if that makes sense. Either way, very positive. You're going to be receiving this probably fairly soon. And then in the middle, we have the Ten of Wands. And the Ten of Wands, for me, typically this card is talking about the end of a cycle, and it's talking specifically about 10 wands is a lot of wands to carry. It's a lot of wands for one person. And so there might be a message here of a need to unburden ourselves in some way, whether we've taken on too much or we're just becoming overly concerned with the opinions of other people in terms of the direction we're choosing to go in. So only take that however it resonates. If we are going with the progression message here, there could just be like a little bit of a warning from your spirit guides that, yes, it's very fun and exciting and validating to have this recognition and then the quick success and have all of that coming in. However, if there's a progression from the 6 to the 8 to the 10, could be saying that there might be a moment coming up where you might need to make a decision about how much you're willing to take on, and how much of other people's opinion of you and how much of, the emotional work of other people you're willing to take on as yours. Like, there's a message when this Ten of Wands comes up to reevaluate the things that are your responsibility and the things that are other people's responsibility, and that it's okay to put down the things that we might be carrying based on what other people expect us to do or what their opinions of us are, if that makes sense. And I want to say, when this card came up, I was also getting an intuitive message based on the picture on this card of, yes, I think it might be that when you're in your Eight of Wands energy, you might decide to take on a lot because you are in a very inspired, creative, fun time, and that might eventually get to a point where it becomes burdensome. However, I see this person on this card choosing to walk away. They're taking they've got their 10 wands in their suitcase and their little, I don't know what kind of animal that is. I really don't. Is it a yak? I have no idea. But they're taking their pack animal and they're saying, even though there's a path up this mountain that's been lit up for me, I'm choosing to forge my own path. I'm going to go in a different direction because I don't need to climb this mountain. It's not for me, and so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to choose to walk in a different direction, even though people might expect me to climb this mountain. They lit the trail for me. I'm going to do what I need to do to take care of myself in this situation, which I would say that being given an opportunity and being in a headspace where we're able to make that kind of decision is a blessing, because it's a way for us to work on our personal growth and apply life lessons that we might have learned towards taking care of ourselves in a situation and forging a path forward that is right for us. Like, it's an opportunity to apply life lessons in a way that's going to work out the best for everybody involved in the long run, and especially for ourselves. So I would say that there is a positive message with this card, and that's being reiterated to me by the appearance of both the Queen of Wands here and the Magician. Especially if we're going in a progression, this might just be saying there's a point in the middle where you might need to make a decision about how much you're willing to take on, whether you want to follow a specific path based on what other people's expectations are, or whether you're going to make the choice to forge your own way forward and prioritize taking care of yourself. And with the Queen of Wands and the Magician here, I see you making that choice. And that's going to have a very positive outcome for you. Because the Queen of Wands is very much in her Master Manifestor energy. She's creative, she's inspired, she's passionate, she's charismatic, she's outgoing, fun-loving, and she's sitting in her little circle of candles here with her wand in the air, and she knows she holds the power of creation in the palm of her hand, in the little fire that's in the palm of her hand. She knows what she's capable of. She's self-assured, and she knows that the universe has her back and her spirit guides have her back. And so I see you as this Queen of Wands being able to be in that energy by making the choices that are right for you in whatever situation this is talking about. And that by doing that, you are going to open up an inner reservoir of inspiration and creativity that you might not even have known was there until that point. Like, I see that unlocking something in you that's going to be perpetually there from then onwards. And that's going to help you get into your Magician energy and to be in like a literal Master Manifestor energy, because the Magician is a Master Manifestor. You know, a Magician is somebody who is really standing in their power, really owning who they are, is really putting out into the universe about all the things that they are grateful for and all the blessings that they know are coming in for them, and they're able to have those things come towards them and have those things come in for them because they're at such a high vibrational, attractive energy for the universe. They know that they are abundant, and therefore they will continue to be abundant. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. And I think that even if you're in a place right now where you're feeling maybe underappreciated, you're feeling like maybe uninspired, I think this is definite encouragement from your spirit guides. Like your big break, or the recognition you've been wanting, or the creative inspiration you've been looking for, whatever it is, it's right around the corner. It's coming in super fast with this Eight of Wands, and it's going to give you an opportunity to evolve until you are a queen, the queen you always were, regardless of your gender, the Queen of Wands, and to be able to be a magician towards creating whatever life you want for yourself. So that's what I'm seeing with your tarot cards. And with that said, let's move into the second part of your reading, where I will take a look at your oracle cards. Okay, pile 2, here we have your oracle cards, and I'm sorry if you can hear the construction outside. I don't want you to panic. I know that there are some, especially with confusion and rejection, there are some words here that might be a little bit scary, but taking all these cards into account, I think that there's a positive message here, and I think that it's directly related to your tarot cards. So I'm going to explain what I mean by that. I want to start with the Chakra Wisdom cards to kind of explain what I'm feeling here. So I do want to say the gray cards in this deck, they're associated with the 7th chakra, which is the crown chakra, which can represent our connection to our spirit guides in the spiritual world. They're also specifically in this deck associated with neutrality. And the way that I would interpret that is that confusion and rejection can, yes, be very uncomfortable, upsetting, and hurtful places to be in. However, the concepts themselves are neutral, and they can have a positive interpretation depending on the context. So with the context of the reading, I specifically asked your spirit guides for any more information about the blessings that were coming in for you, and then both of these cards came out. So I want to start with confusion. And I would see the phrase that kept coming into my head when I was thinking about this card is that confusion is a gift. It can be a gift, even though, as I said, it can be a very uncomfortable energy to be in. I know that specifically, I can think of a lot of examples in my life where I have been very confused, and there's examples of happening over the summer where I felt like I was kind of in a fog. I didn't know which way to go. I didn't really know how to move forward in my life from where I was. I didn't know what to do in terms of my career. I had finished a program, and I really didn't know what to do next. I didn't think I wanted to go into the field that I had studied, and I was just feeling very confused. And I even felt like I was kind of losing a little bit of faith because I felt like I kept asking my spirit guides for some sort of direction, and I kept not getting it. And when I would watch tarot videos, all the tarot readers were saying that I was in this confused energy for a reason, and that I was going to have to figure it out myself. And I had my moments where I was like, kind of angry, because I've done all this spiritual work and I've worked so hard, and you're just gonna abandon me like this when I need some guidance. However, what I learned from that was that what I needed to do in that situation was take a deep dive inward and realize that when I meditate, when I take the time to slow down and think about the potential different paths in front of me, or even about the fact that maybe I can't see any path forward at all. When I take the time to kind of say, okay, I'm going to have to make peace with not really knowing and not knowing what the outcome is going to be, and just take some steps forward into the fog without really knowing if there's a path there or not. That's when that fog started to lift for me. And so I think there was a lesson there for me, specifically from my spirit guides, that sometimes the way out of the confusion, the way out of the fog, is by just taking whatever steps forward in whatever direction. And I stumbled a few times. I made some decisions that didn't pan out. I tried some things that ended up not being for me. However, I've gotten to a place now where I can see my path forward again. And if I hadn't have taken those steps into that fog when I was feeling confused and I was feeling lost, and I was feeling a little bit abandoned, if I hadn't made the choice to do that, I would still be either sitting in that fog cloud, or maybe I would have rejected my own personal power, my ability to make a path for myself. And I have made a choice based on fear, which for me would have meant finding a job in my field. And for me, that would have been my 10 of Wands. That would have been my choosing to climb up that mountain in the 10 of Wands instead of forging my own path forward, because I knew that path wasn't meant for me. But I had to have faith both in my ability to get through this confusing period and in the idea that my spirit guides, that I'm being divinely guided, I'm being divinely protected, even when it doesn't feel like it. So I don't want to come across as preachy. I hope that was kind of helpful to explain why this confusion card is here as a blessing rather than a warning. This confusion, I think, is probably directly related to the 10 of Wands cards that came up in your reading, as an opportunity from your spirit guides to evaluate which path is meant for you, and to take the time to explore different things that might not be the path up the mountain or the path you're expected to go on. It's okay to explore other things, and that the confusion will lift eventually, and you will get to a place where you can see the path forward again. And it has an added benefit that I trust myself a lot more now. I have a lot more confidence in myself now because I gave myself the time to explore in that sense. So I hope that's helpful. And then I want to touch on rejection, because I know most of us, I don't want to say all, but most of us have probably heard the phrase that rejection is divine protection. And that's, obviously what jumped into my head when I saw this card. And I absolutely used to hate hearing that, especially when I was going through a hard time, especially when I was in my confusion stage. I hated hearing that. It always upset me. So I'm sorry to have to relay that message here, but that's what I'm hearing from your spirit guides. There might be, I think this is a message. If you're standing at the base of that mountain and you know that path that you're expected to take is not the path for you, those feelings of even from yourself coming from, I'm rejecting this path because it's not meant for me, those internal feelings of like, oh, like I know that this is what I'm expected to do, but it doesn't feel right. There's a message here not to ignore that feeling. And with this card, there's a few other interpretations that I want to give to, because I see this card as being related to, yes, the Ten of Wands card. I also see it as being related to the Six of Wands card, because I think, with any amount of recognition and, receiving like the things that we're due, you've earned your success, you've earned the blessings that are coming in for you are meant for you. You've put the work in to earn them. However, that can attract the attention of people who are jealous or who might have an inaccurate perception of who we are or what we deserve. And the message in the book about this card is talking about not being affected by the rejection of other people, because you know who you are. You're standing in your power. That Queen of Wands knows exactly who she is, and so the judgment of other people who aren't on her level doesn't even affect her. It can't get to her because she knows it's not true. She knows that's not her truth. And so there's a message when this card comes up that you do not need to accept the criticism or opinions of other people, because they are not on your level and they do not understand who you are or what you're doing. And that's okay. You can leave it. You don't need to take it, even though I understand that it can be hard to get to a point where that's the personal truth. However, with this reading, that's what I'm seeing. You are going to be able to get to a point where, if you receive a lot of attention and recognition for something, there may be naysayers, there may be people who leave mean comments. If you're an influencer, you're working on the internet, there will definitely be people who leave mean comments, and you're going to be able to, take what you need and leave the rest. Like, you're going to be able to say, okay, well, that, I'm not for this person, and that's okay. I don't need to take whatever they said to heart, because I'm just not meant for that person. So I would see those interpretations. And then I also do want to reiterate the message that it could just be the very simple message. Like, maybe I'm overthinking it. There could be a very simple message about rejection being divine protection. So if there was maybe a job that you wanted, or something you were trying to do, or maybe if you are trying to become an influencer and your first idea doesn't pan out, doesn't get any traction or engagement, there's an encouragement from your spirit guides here to keep trying, because facing those rejections from other people, you can use that as inspiration or as a way to say, okay, well, that path clearly wasn't meant for me. That thing wasn't the thing. However, I know that I'm going to find my thing. I just have to keep trying. I have to keep trying different things. I have to kind of pivot to something else. And I know that I'm gonna figure out what it is eventually. I can get out of this confused state eventually. And the time that I spent working through the confusion by just simply keep continuing to take steps forward into the fog, even when I didn't know what the right way forward was, even when, that's going to help me get to a magician energy where I can manifest whatever I want. And I'm the Queen of Wands, and I have that crown on my head. I feel like I'm rambling, but I hope that made sense. And then I see both of these cards as being related to your Starseed card, which says lifting the veil. Questioning everything, anything unaligned must go. And I would see that as there's a clear progression for me in your tarot cards about evolving to a higher vibrational energy. And so when that happens, what this card is talking about is when we evolve to a higher vibration, we might still have people or things or situations in our life that are at a lower vibration. And this card is a call to assess the things in our life that are no longer at our level, that are no longer aligned with our energy, and to, make the hard choices sometimes to release or let go of those things. And so I also want to say this card for me is a direct confirmation from your spirit guides that your confusion's not going to last forever. It's right now, or while it's happening, it is a blessing. It's a gift that you're going to be given that time. However, this card's about lifting the veil. So taking that time to work through that and to work through whatever this rejection card means for you is going to help you lift the veil and see the things in your life that are meant for you and that are not meant for you, and be very clear about who you are and what you want and which path you're going to choose to go down. Moving on to your Moonology cards, we have the new moon in Sagittarius, which says luck is on your side. And we also have the mutable moon, which says nothing is yet set in stone. And when these cards come, my spirit guides always blow me away. I might initially be confused, but then the more cards come out, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. This definitely confirms this for me. So I do want to point out also that Sagittarius is, I believe that's mutable, a mutable sign, and then we have the mutable moon. So there's a definite message here, especially with the Magician card, that you have the ability to shape your own future. You have the ability to make changes that you need to make to progress all the way through the wand suit and end up as the Queen of Wands. You have that power, and luck is on your side, another confirmation that you're being divinely guided and divinely protected. And there is another message when this card comes up that luck is on your side. Yes, you are being divinely guided, and it might also be a good idea to start doing a gratitude practice if you are in a place where you're trying to manifest things. That's really going to help your manifestations, and it's going to help you get to the Magician energy, where you are in a positive, high vibrational manifestation energy, if you're not already. So I thought I'd throw that in there. And I also want to point out that it's a new moon, which can signal the start of a cycle. And so I would see this as being tied to that Ten of Wands, the end of a cycle. And then this new moon, there's going to be a new cycle after that, where maybe in the Ten of Wands, you were feeling confusion, the rejection, you're like in the middle of it, like all this stuff has happened, you've received all this quick success, it's been probably a little bit overwhelming, and you might then feel a little confused, you might feel like you can't figure out what thing is right for you, and then there's a message here to keep in mind that luck is on your side. You're going to get through this. You're going to get to this place where you're lifting the veil and where you are the magician of your own life, and you have the ability to bring in whatever in your life it is that you want. And then with the message that nothing is yet set in stone, I think that's also a confirmation that even though there might be a time in the middle where you're feeling this confusion, rejection, you have the ability to forge your own path forward here. And you don't need to feel like you're stuck or trapped or locked into anything. You can choose how to move forward. You have the power in this situation. And that's honestly a message I'm getting with all 5 cards here. You are powerful. And I think that that's a message from your spirit guides, not to forget that you are powerful and you have the ability to get through whatever you're going to get through. Not to forget that there is that positive message. You have a lot of success coming in very quickly for you. And there might be a subtle warning here, if you're asked to sign a specific contract or commit to something that you're not 100% sure about, I would say there is a message here, just a little bit of a warning, to take some time. Take whatever time you need until you can get to a place where you do feel sure about that decision. Don't know if someone needed to hear that, just felt compelled to say it. And with that said, I want to thank you, Pile 2, for watching this video today. If you liked it, please give it a like. Please feel free to leave a comment and let me know how it resonated. And if you have any video ideas, I would love to hear them. You can subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I hope to see you in my next video. Hello there, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading. Today I have asked your spirit guides what blessings are coming in for you. And I want to say, Pile 3, that as soon as I saw your cards, I was thinking this is going to be a bit of a different reading for you guys than it was for the first 2 piles. And that's okay, because I think that there are probably messages here that are going to be helpful for you to hear. And I wanted to also say, the question I did ask was what blessings are coming in for you. However, I'm getting the sense with these cards that this might be your spirit guides taking the opportunity to help you see the things that might have already happened or be in the process of happening with a different perspective, from a different perspective, and to help maybe put them into a perspective where you're able to see some of these things as a blessing in disguise, or if you're not there yet, at least be able to get to a point where you'll be able to recognize that whatever you're going through, or whatever you have been going through, or whatever you might be about to go through, is at the very least an opportunity for personal growth and to develop necessary skills and strategies so that whatever else happens in your life, you'll know that you have the strength and capability to not only get through it, but to learn and grow from whatever happens. So I hope that's helpful. I'll explain what I mean when we get into the cards here. I felt compelled to say that because this is a bit of a different reading, a bit of a different vibe for you, pile 3, and that's okay. I do say sometimes my spirit guides give me the messages that I need, not necessarily the messages that I want. So with that said, let's get into the tarot cards here. So we're starting off with the Two of Wands, which one of the key words for the Two of Wands is potential. And you can see that the figure on this card is sitting down, kind of wistfully staring out the window, and she might be thinking about where to go next, what to do next. And I do often say this card is associated with me with like a should I stay or should I go kind of energy. And it can talk about, as I said, the key word here is potential. It can talk about feeling like right now we're in a place where we might not be realizing our full potential, or we might be excited to discover the potential of new experiences. So there could be an interpretation where we are getting ready to go on an adventure. We want to see what's out there. Maybe we're about to travel. There's a globe on this card, and we might be thinking like, oh, I want to go here. I want to do this. I want to try new things. I want to join a new group, join a new social group, start a new hobby. I want to try something new and see what else is out there for me. So this is actually a positive card with a positive meaning, because it's like, okay, I can sit here in this room and stare out the window and think about what I want to do, or I can get up and actually start taking practical steps toward that stuff. And so I would say in the context to what blessings are coming in for you, I would say that you're going to be in a place where you're starting to pursue new ideas, new avenues, and in a place where you're ready to embark on a new adventure, because maybe where you've been right now is not living up to your expectations. Maybe it's not where you want to be. Maybe it's not as exciting or fulfilling as you might have thought it was going to be. And so you're ready to kind of move on and see what else is out there. And in the context to the rest of your cards, I'd say that this makes sense to me. As a blessing that's coming in for you. Like I would say that, if we're reading these cards, like I like to kind of read them in sequence. If we're reading them in order, I think that this card came out first, because I think this is an assurance from your spirit guides that the major blessing coming in for you is the ability to be in this energy. Because I'm going to address the elephant in the room here with this Three of Swords card that's right here. And, I can put a positive spin on it, but at the end of the day, the Three of Swords card is traditionally associated with heartbreak, betrayal, and a lot of emotional suffering. So this card coming out as a blessing for you, like I've asked, what blessings are coming towards you, this card coming out, there might be some of you watching who you have no idea what this card is referring to. However, with the rest of the cards here, I would be inclined to take this as a recognition from your spirit guides that you might currently be in this energy, or you might have just recently gone through some sort of heartbreak or betrayal or disappointment or something really painful. And the reason why I talked about maybe a need to shift perspective here is because this card is coming up as a blessing for you. Even though, yes, this is a very difficult thing to go through, there is a message when this card comes up that heartbreak is also an opportunity to heal. And I know that can be really hard to hear, especially when we're in the middle of whatever is causing this feeling. It can be hard to hear. It's like I don't want to be going through this. I don't want to have to heal this. I don't want my heart to break so that I can learn how to heal that break. Like, that's not fair. I don't deserve to be going through something like this, and it's so hard, and I don't know if I can get through it. Definitely have been there before, and I know how hard it can be to hear something like this heartbreak is a blessing, or rejection is divine protection, or this is like a blessing in disguise. I know how hard that can be to hear. However, that's the direct message I'm getting from your spirit guides. So whatever has happened here is not a question of whether you deserve to be hurt. It's a question of, what are you going to do with this pain? Unfortunately, there are things that do happen in our lives, either because other people have bad intentions, or there's just circumstances beyond our control. So these things are going to happen in our lives. And there's a message when these things come up that we need to accept the things that we can't control. And I know that's really hard to hear. And the reason that that's coming up for me is that I'm gonna be real with you, pile 3. I am an addict in recovery. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm pretty open about it. One of the hardest lessons I had to learn was that I cannot control other people. And something that happened to me when I was in rehab was I formed a really strong emotional connection with a boy, and he was just, I was head over heels. And I really thought that this was my person. We were just so closely connected. I could tell that there was a soul deep connection there. And frankly, despite what happened, nobody can take that away from me. I know that whatever happened was real. However, he left the treatment center before me because he had arrived before me, and he relapsed and he ghosted me. And that was devastating. It was devastating. I don't know how else to put it. I was heartbroken because I really, truly believed this is my person. This is a person I can spend the rest of my life with. We're just so connected. And it was so devastating to think that he was in a place mentally where he could just disconnect. And I'm saying that as an addict. I know what it's like. And I'm, one of the reasons why it was really hard for me to kind of deal with what he did was because I know I could see myself being in his shoes and making the same choice. Because if I had left and I had relapsed, I probably would have ghosted him too. And it was partially because, I don't want to deal with the judgment from somebody whose opinion I value, but also because I wouldn't have wanted to drag him down too. So it's I understand where this guy was coming from, and that he might have been doing this out of the way that he felt for me, right? But it still hurt like a motherfucker, and I couldn't do anything to escape it. Because I was in treatment. And I'm thankful every single day since then that I was in treatment when that happened. And I was given tools. I was in exactly the right place to be. For the first time in my adult life, I had to deal with a hard emotion without a substance. And I had to learn how to use all the tools that they give us in treatment. And part of that is learning the really hard lesson that we cannot control what other people decide to do. And unfortunately, sometimes that means we have to let go, and we have to just accept whatever has happened, even when it was, for us in our minds at that point in time, the worst possible outcome. For me, I was just oh my God. And thinking back, I'm that's not the worst possible. The worst possible outcome would be if he had OD'd. But he didn't. He's, as far as I know, he's still alive. But, I can look back on it now and be so grateful that he made the choice to let go of me first. That I was never ready to let go of him. And if I had pursued a relationship with him and he had been, drinking or using, I'm 100% certain I would be dead right now. Between being in a toxic relationship with another addict and COVID, I don't think I would have survived. And so I'm literally grateful every day to my spirit guides and to that heartbreak and the opportunity to use the tools I had learned in treatment to get me through. what was an emotionally devastating time in my life, because I mean, it also brought up all my old baggage, the abandonment issues, emotional neglect from my childhood, just like all that stuff that had been buried was suddenly coming up to the surface. And it's like, okay, well, if I don't deal with this now when I am in the perfect place and time and spot to do it, then am I really working on my recovery? So I'm sorry I told a really long rambling story. I just wanted to kind of give my own example, because I know it can also sometimes be hard when we have somebody who's telling us like, oh, I've been in that situation and it does get better. It's like, well, but how do you really know how I feel? How can you guarantee that things are going to get better? And the truth is, I can't guarantee things are going to get better for you. However, these cards are telling me that your story, whatever the details might be totally different, but we have a similar path here, because with these cards here, I can see the path that I took to get to my Two of Wands and my Ten of Swords, which I see this as you're starting with the Three of Swords, then the Page of Swords, the Seven of Pentacles, then the Ten of Swords. You're going to end up in this Two of Wands energy, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a great energy to be in after all of these other cards. And I think the reason why this card came out first rather than last was as an assurance from your spirit guides that you were going to get here. This is the blessing, and here's the reason why. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to move on to the Page of Swords now. So the Page of Swords, because it's a page, and the page is the youngest court card. It's being in more of a passive receptive energy, and specifically with this card where this person is holding a book, there's a message here to, first of all, there's a message to ask for help if you need it, especially after the Three of Swords card. I feel compelled to say that. It's okay to ask for help. There's a message here because it's swords. It's okay to talk about how you feel. It's okay to share your story with other people and to look for support. Specifically this Page of Swords card, I think, is associated with the internet, so there might be a message from your spirit guides that it might be helpful to find an online support forum, and this card talks about learning from our experiences, asking questions, asking for help if we need it, making sure our voice is heard. And I'm saying all this stuff because I see you as this Page of Swords in this situation, and really kind of taking whatever has happened in this Three of Swords and applying it towards learning and personal growth. I would see that as the interpretation here. There is another potential message here that maybe whatever is happening with this Three of Swords is tied to receiving a hard truth or receiving a message that might be hard to hear. So maybe receiving some sort of bad news. Only take that, if it resonates. The main interpretation, the way I would intuitively read this is as what I said, like this is you taking the opportunity here, whatever happened here, to learn and grow and connect with other people and find support. And that's absolutely a blessing. That's a positive thing. And that one of the blessings here is you're going to be able to transmute whatever's happening with this Three of Swords towards, again, connecting with other people, learning new coping skills, and really kind of building a new strategy, a new way to move forward out of that. Because as you can see on this card, this page is kind of tiptoeing across, I don't know, it looks like a chasm here on a stick, and they have those light bulbs, and they're kind of, letting their mind, their ideas, their intellect carry them across a treacherous divide, if that makes sense. There's also this card, the swords are associated with like communication. However, I want to point out the colors on this card and the next card and the Ten of Swords. There's maybe some thread of yellow here, which is associated with the solar plexus chakra, which is about self-esteem and determination and like, having the will to do things and make things happen for ourselves. And that's also why I'm kind of getting this message that you're the Page of Swords in this situation. You are kind of going to take the reins here to pull yourself out of whatever this Three of Swords energy is, or at least learn from the situation, learn as much as you can from it, and use it as an opportunity to connect with other people, which is going to bring a lot of blessings into your life. Then moving on to the Seven of Pentacles, The key word I'm hearing with this card, usually, with different decks, I get different stuff. The Seven of Pentacles has a few different interpretations. The key word I'm getting here is perspective. This card can traditionally talk about being unsure about whether our hard work and effort is going to pay off. If you'll see on the card, this person has planted their pentacles and they're growing down by the roots. So he can't see how his pentacles are progressing. The only thing he has to go off of is the shoot, the tree shoot or whatever is blooming out of the ground there, so he really can't see what's going on underground. So there is a message about I need to have faith that the pentacles are growing here. Whatever you're putting work towards is growing. And this person, even though he doesn't know how things are faring, he's still putting the work in. He's still nurturing that little shoot to make sure that it's progressing, and he's basically doing whatever he can, and so that all again brings me back to the message about, controlling the things that we can control, because there's lots of stuff that we can't control, and there's lots of stuff that we can't see. There's stuff going on beneath the surface, or things going on in other people's lives, so we just don't have access to that information, and so we can only go off what we can see. We can only control the parts that we can control. And so I think there's a message here that this person is still patiently cultivating their crop. They're still patiently working towards building their skills, as a Pentacles card, so building their financial abundance, and having faith that whatever is meant for them is going to develop in the time that it needs to develop. They're nurturing whatever is growing here, and just putting the patient time and effort in. And the message that I'm getting with this card is that those pentacles I see on the card are healthy, and they are growing. And so the message here is you don't need to worry. The things that you're putting effort towards are going to pay off for you, and especially because this card's coming in as a blessing. Giving yourself the time and the faith and the peace of mind to just nurture whatever you need to nurture. Take the time for self-care, taking the time to do whatever you need to do with methodicalness and hard work to get through this time is 100% going to pay off for you. So I'd say there's definitely like a connected message, I would say, between the Page of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles. There's, the intellectual pursuits in the Page of Swords, and there's the practical steps in the Seven of Pentacles. And I can see that leading you to the Ten of Swords, which is your last card here. Again, I'm sorry if you can hear, there's someone moving into my apartment complex and there's people doing construction outside, so it might be a little bit loud, so I'm sorry about that. But I do want to move on to the Ten of Swords, because I think this is a really important card, and I think there's a reason why your spirit guides put it as the last card here. The Ten of Swords actually has a pretty beautiful energy, in my opinion, because we're moving on from the Nine of Swords, the anxiety and the fear and the dark thoughts and the kind of depressed, lost energy of the Nine of Swords, into the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is the end of a cycle. It's the end of the swords. You can't go any further. And the Ten of Swords, again, I wanna say it, although I know it might be annoying to hear. Ten of Swords can be a blessing in disguise, because it talks about an ending. Something is ending. And there's an opportunity to learn whatever lessons we need to learn from it, accept this is the end of whatever it is. Accept that things happened the way they did, make peace with that, and then we can release it, let go of it, and choose to walk away from it towards something new. And I see that as what this figure on this card is doing. They have their back to us, and they're walking away. They've released whatever they needed to release. And when I look at this person, yes, I get a sense of residual sadness. I also get a sense of relief. It's like I did whatever I needed to do here. I played my part here. I did the work. I did the healing. I put all my effort into the Page of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles, and I finally got to a place where I've made peace with whatever happened in this Three of Swords. I've learned from it. I've healed from it, and I can take the lessons that I needed to take from it with gratitude and love in my heart and move on to a new cycle. And so that's why I think it's important that this is the last card here for you. And that's why I think this is a message, this whole reading about, what blessings are coming in for you, I think is your spirit guides really took the opportunity to say, whatever heartbreak and negativity, loss, disappointment is happening in this Three of Swords, the blessing is you're getting to that 10. You're going to be able to put the work in and really learn and heal and grow from this situation and grow your pentacles and develop to a place where the blessing is the end of this cycle. You're going to get through it. Don't you dare give up now, because you're going to be right at that 10, and you're going to be in a place where you can walk away, let it go. And that's a blessing. I mean, I know I talked about my own experiences. It took me a long time to get to that 10 of Swords, and I did have to do all the work in between. And I'm still really grateful that I had that opportunity, because I'm a much different person now than I was then. And if I hadn't had that opportunity to do all of that personal work, I don't really even want to think about where I'd be. I really had to kind of take something and transmute it. And I believe that is what you were going to be able to do. And that's hard, yes. It's also amazing. It takes tremendous faith and courage to be able to get through something like this and to end up at the Two of Wands. And I see that for you. I see that as a real blessing that's coming in for you, and your spirit guides are confirming that. So I wanted to that's what I'm seeing in your tarot cards. Just wanted to kind of reiterate that message again. And I know you're probably the longest pile. I've been talking for so long. But I do want to do a second part to your reading, which is your oracle cards. So I'm just going to set that up. Okay, pile 3, here are your oracle cards. And I know I say this with every pile. I was pretty blown away by, judging from the tarot cards. These cards are pretty on point, I would say. And I'm going to start with the chakra wisdom cards here. We have complacency, which is associated with the root chakra, and trickery, which is associated with the heart chakra. And I would say that, I know the question that I asked when I pulled these cards was, what can you tell me about the blessings that are coming in for pile 3? And these were what your spirit guides had to say. And I know, yes, sometimes these can be associated with negative things, but I think given the context of your tarot cards, I can see these things as blessings, because I think the complacency card is maybe a little bit of a warning about, not staying in an energy where we're not able to get to our 10 of Swords. Yes, it's okay to experience our feelings, let ourselves be sad, let ourselves feel the pain of whatever we're going through and process that and work through it. However, we don't want to remain stuck in that energy. We want to be able to get to the 10 of Swords where we're ready to release what we've been through and move on towards, walk towards the horizon, move on towards something like a different cycle, a better cycle, something new, something that is meant for us. So I would see this card as being directly related to the 10 of Swords in terms of the blessing, because I would say that this is Spirit's way of saying you have an opportunity to avoid complacency, and that's the blessing. You don't need to stay in this chair while the plants wilt around you in the winter time. You can choose to get up and move towards something new. You can choose to heal from whatever's happened and move towards something new. And I will say, because this card is associated with the root chakra, it might be helpful for you to do any kind of grounding activity, and that can include meditation, it can include physical activity, and it doesn't need to be like hard exercise. It could be just like going out for a walk, spending time in nature, doing yoga, I find is really helpful. And I find I never want to do yoga, and then every time I do, I always feel better afterwards. And it could include physical exercise, like going for a run, if that's something that you're interested in doing. All of those things can also help get us out of our head and into our body. And I've found that doing that kind of grounding thing helps me get into my Page of Swords energy, where I'm not reacting as emotionally to the things that are happening around me, and I'm able to kind of say, okay, how can I take what I need from this and move forward. So that's what I'm seeing with the complacency card. And then we have the trickery card. And I was like, well, the complacency is connected probably to the Ten of Swords. I would see the trickery as being connected to whatever happened in your Three of Swords. And especially because this card is associated with the heart chakra. And the Three of Swords is associated with heartbreak. The card literally has a big heart on it. So what this is telling me in the context to the question of what blessings are coming in for you, it's again reiterating that message. Whatever is happening in that Three of Swords for you, however that resonates for you, it's an opportunity. It's a blessing in disguise. Again, I said it probably 3 or 4 times in this reading, and again, I know that can be upsetting to hear, but these cards are really confirming that for me. And I think that the way that the trickery of other people can be a blessing for us is because it allows us to, first of all, it allows us to experience personal growth. It allows us to determine what things we value and that we want to prioritize. It can help us develop compassion and empathy. Not that you don't already have those things, but I think it can, when we see how bad it feels to be tricked, it can help us kind of monitor our own behavior and make sure, okay, well, I never want to make anybody else feel that way. So it can be helpful in that sense as well. And there's an additional message with this card, specifically in the book that came with the deck, that don't be afraid to ask for help. Because even though there might be somebody in our life who has let us down or disappointed us or broken our heart, it's okay to reach out to other people, because there could be other people who have been through something similar, been through the same thing, who can help us get through it. And so I would see that there might also be a connection to what I was saying with the Page of Swords about connecting to a support group, or maybe finding an online community, just, sharing your story in some way in order to help you. And that doing that will also be helpful for other people, because, it helps us feel like we're not as alone, and I think that that's ultimately a positive thing. And so, I mean, if we want to get, literal about it, because this is the Chakra Wisdom deck, I would say the blessing here is also an opportunity to strengthen your root chakra with the grounding work and strengthen your heart chakra. And there are some like heart chakra meditation and meditation musics that are on YouTube that I really like. I recommend the channel Meditative Mind. I really like that channel. And there's like a heart chakra hang drum meditation video that I really like. I use that a lot. So I don't know if that's helpful, but just a suggestion. And then we have your Starseed card, which says, a new earth, it's happening, keep holding the vision. And I would, again, see a direct connection between this card and the Ten of Swords, especially because the picture on the card to me is very similar. We have like a lone figure who's walking away from us towards something new, like towards the horizon. And especially with the message to keep holding the vision, I think that's being reiterated here. Like there's a message to keep going, because you're going to get to that Ten of Swords. You're going to get to a place where you can go to a new earth. There's a new cycle. There's something new. You can head towards something new. You're not going to, you can let go, release. You're not going to stay in that, the heartbreak energy forever. You can transmute it. You can learn from it. You can work on your own personal self-growth, and doing all of that stuff is going to get you to a place where you're ready to walk away from it and move towards something new. That's beautiful. And this card also talks about there being like a direct advice from spirit guides not to give up, because you're almost there. So thought I'd reiterate that too. And then we have your two Moonology cards, and there's a guidebook that came with these. I'm being called to read them intuitively. I think in terms of adjustments are required, which is a third quarter moon, I think that that's related to what I was talking about at the beginning of your reading in terms of a shift in perspective. I think that it's important with the Page of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles, specifically the Seven of Pentacles, where the person can't see their pentacles growing underground. I think there's a message here just about shifting your perspective to be able to get to a place where you're ready to move towards the new earth in your Starseed card. You're ready to release, and you can be in a place where you're ready to embrace the Two of Wands and head off towards a new adventure, because you have faith that you're going to be able to find something that is fulfilling for you and is exciting for you. And so, again, I just would take this as a direct message that it's important to maybe shift your focus, shift your perspective, and try to focus on the positive and on the learning experiences and on the growth opportunity here, because there are things going on behind the scenes that we can't see. And so we can only control the things that we can control, and we can take charge of those things and work really hard on our mental health, our physical health, our routines, taking care of ourselves, especially when we're in a place where we're healing from something. So I hope that's helpful. And then the next card is Expect Powerful Change, the New Moon Eclipse. And with this card, I would take that, again, as just confirmation that you're going to be able to transmute this energy. You're going to be able to go through this experience, as difficult as it may be, and to have cocooned into a butterfly, to put it that way. Like, you're gonna be able to take something that was so upsetting and so painful and turn it into one of the biggest blessings in your life. And I have to say, something I forgot to mention with the Ten of Swords is I was hearing the Beyonce song, Best Thing I Never Had, and specifically the line, "Thank God I found the good in goodbye." And you are going to get to that point. I promise you, you're going to get there. Your spirit guides are telling me you're going to get there. And you're going to get there through your courage, your faith, your willingness to work through whatever is happening here, to learn from it, to connect with other people, and to nurture yourself and the things that you're putting your energy into. And I think that's beautiful. I think, like, ultimately there is a positive message here for you, even though this is, a bit of a harder energy with this pile, a bit of a more difficult message to deliver. Ultimately, you are being divinely guided. You are being divinely protected. Your spirit guides are extremely proud of you already. And the final piece here for you is you are going to be able to shift your perspective so that you can see what a blessing all of these things were for your life. You can get to a place of gratitude. I hope this reading was helpful for you today, pile 3. I know it was a lot. And again, this is probably one of the longer piles here. I just wanted to take the time to kind of explain how I see this stuff, because I feel like you might need a little bit of extra support. So with that said, if you liked the video, you can give it a like if you want. Please comment down below to let me know how this resonated with you. And if you just want to chat, that's cool too. If you have any video ideas, I'd love to hear them. And you can subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me. And I hope to see you in my next video, pile 3. And thank you for watching. Hello, pile 4, and welcome to your reading. Today I have asked your spirit guides to let me know what blessings are coming in for you. And I have to say, we have some exciting messages here for you. So I want to point out that the first 3 cards in your spread here are all major arcana, and there are 78 cards in a standard tarot deck, and there's only 21 major arcana. So when we get a bunch of them in a small spread like this, it usually tells me that there's a lot of important energy here. So I wanted to point that out. And the first blessing that we have for you is the Death card here. What I think is interesting is that this deck has the death rebirth message right on the card. I think probably a lot of people get freaked out by the Death card, and we do have death and then the devil, but there's nothing to worry about here, because this reading is about blessings. So the Death card can be a blessing because, as you can see, death also represents rebirth. It's the ending of one cycle in our life so that we can let go of that and begin a new cycle, taking the lessons that we learned from the last cycle, bringing it into the new cycle, and be reborn with a new energy, if that makes sense. There sometimes is a message with this card that we've had to transmute something from our past experiences in order to have the courage to walk through the portal to the next phase, in order to be reborn into the next thing, if that makes sense. So I would say that the blessing of the death card coming in is letting you know that you are very close to being at the end of a process of transformation in which you have been able to take your experiences and use them to make the necessary changes to be able to let go of maybe an old version of yourself or an old version of the life you were living, so that you can move forward into the next phase, the next iteration of yourself, or the next part of your life with kind of like a blank slate, a clean start, a fresh start. And that's beautiful as far as blessings go. So I would also take this as recognition from your spirit guides about the hard work that you've been doing to get to this death, to get through the transformation that you're going through, so that you can transform into whatever you're meant to be, or whatever you're meant to be next, I guess, would be the way to say that. Because, ideally we don't stop changing, we don't stop transforming, it's just, we go through cycles. And so what this is telling me is you're about to start a new cycle, and that's exciting. It's just a very, very energizing energy to be in, I guess, if you could put it that way. I don't know that I'm getting my words out correctly right now. Anyway, it's a great card, and I'm glad that it's here. And then we have that followed by the devil. And as I said, that might seem like a scary combination, but in the context of your reading, I don't see it that way. Because the devil, when it appears, it can sometimes carry like a dual message, like whether it's upright or reversed, it can, like, both can have positive and negative aspects to it. However, when the devil comes up as a blessing, I'm seeing this as only the positive aspects of this card. And so the devil is a card that talks about commitments, and that can be maybe in the form of a formal contract. It could be like a work contract. Maybe you're going to be offered a job. Maybe there's going to be some opportunity for you to work with somebody. Maybe there's something that you've really wanted. Maybe you've applied for something. Maybe you've applied to school, and this could be talking about getting like an acceptance letter or something like that. Or it can talk about, in relationships, could be talking about getting married. If that is something that you're interested in and is relevant to your life at this moment in time, then this might be Spirit's way of saying, like, don't worry, if that's something you want, that is something that is a blessing that is coming in for you. It's coming towards you. You're going to have the commitment, even if the commitment is not at marriage level. Like, it might just be making the commitment to be exclusive in a relationship. However, I'm seeing it as, like, I'm getting kind of the message that it's probably something you've been wanting for a while, and going through this process of change that has led to this death rebirth card being here is going to help whatever this commitment is to come towards you and to come in for you. And so that's very exciting right there. And then the devil also has a message of, like, life's pleasures. Because it's a card about, indulgence and overindulgence and, like, addiction and attachments and stuff. But it's also just talking about having a good time. Like, the devil comes up, when you're about to throw a party. It's about enjoying the pleasures of life. And that can usually mean, like, material pleasures. And so there could also be, a message from Spirit that is okay to kind of celebrate the positive things that are happening in your life. And it could be like a hint from your spirit guides. You might be invited to a party. There might be some sort of celebration coming up for you that could be significant in some way. So maybe keep your eyes peeled for that, if that applies to you. And then the next card we have here is the Chariot. And I do want to point out that this card came up for pile 1 as well. So there might be messages in that pile for you. And I almost never see this card. I love this card. I think it's beautiful. And it never comes up for me in personal readings, and I've seen it like a handful of times in readings for other people. And so I thought it was interesting. It came up twice today. And there were only 5 cards here in these spreads, but the Chariot is an exciting card to get, because as you can see, the person on the Chariot is, like, in charge of making a decision about where he's going. And so the Chariot is about stepping into our power and being able to have the clarity of mind and purpose to know which way we want to steer the Chariot and to boldly go in that direction. And that's an exciting energy to be in, to say, like, I know I know what path I want to take, and I'm going to guide my horses in that path, and I know who I am, and I know what I want, and I'm standing in my power. So the combination of all of these three major arcana right here, right at the beginning of your reading here, is telling me you have a lot of really exciting things that are about to happen for you. And I think that they are as a result of this transformation you've been through is really attracting all this energy towards you. It's going to put you in a place where you feel like you are in control of the direction that your life is taking. You feel like you're able to make the commitments that you want to make and have that stuff come towards you. You're able to enjoy the material pleasures of life, to put it that way. And that's all a very exciting energy. And then we have these two Pentacles cards right here at the end for you. And there is a Six of Pentacles and a 9. So that's the 69. Anyway, the Six of Pentacles, the traditional interpretation of this card is usually about an exchange of energy. And that can mean, because it's Pentacles, could mean an exchange of money or material goods. And in that sense, it carries a message about giving and receiving, like reciprocity. And if that is something that you had not experienced previously in your life, what I'm getting from this is your spirit's guide's way of saying, at this very exciting time in your life, you're going to find that you are having satisfying equal exchanges with other people, whether that is financially, maybe you have a lot of financial abundance coming in, and you're feeling compelled to maybe give back in some way, maybe donating to charity or volunteering your time. There's just some sort of a give and take, an exchange, a receiving and a giving that is very balanced here. That's the energy I'm getting, and that it feels very fulfilling for you. So that's one of the blessings that's coming in. And then we have the 9 of Pentacles. And the way that I usually see this card, especially with the images on this card, is, you planted your Ace of Pentacles way back when we were at the Ace, and then you went through all the numbers, and now you're at the 9 when your pentacle has grown into this beautiful Pentacles tree, and you're ready to harvest those pentacles. And so they're all coming in for you. It's a card about financial abundance, material abundance, and our hard work and our efforts and our careful nurturing of our pentacles is starting to pay off. And so we're really seeing the return on our investments here. And it could be that, whatever we've been working on in the Six of Pentacles is going to be returned to us with interest in the 9 of Pentacles. So definitely a lot of financial abundance coming in for you, and it's well deserved. That's the message that I'm getting here from these cards here. And so, this might be a bit of a shorter pile just because there's a lot of exciting energy here for you, and I am excited for you, pile 4. I don't know that there's a ton of extra messages or extra nuance here. I know some of the other piles had some more complicated messages. However, this all seems pretty straightforward to me. I have to be honest. It seems like you're going through a transformation. You're going to end up in a new phase in your life where there's people coming towards you, want to commit to you. You're ready to make commitments in different areas. You're enjoying your life. You're having a good time. You're in an energy where you feel like you're really in control of where you're going, or you have clarity about where you want to go next. There's a lot of really satisfying exchanges and interactions with other people in your life. You feel very balanced around money and your financial situation. And then you're going to have an increase in financial and material abundance. Your hard work, everything you've been working towards is finally paying off. So that's really the interpretation that I'm being drawn to right now for you. And that's all very positive. I feel excited about that. And with that said, let's move into your oracle cards. Okay, pile 4, here we have your oracle cards. And I do want to start with the Chakra Wisdom oracle cards. So for you, we have self-worth and impartiality. And I can definitely see where the self-worth card is coming in, because you've put the hard work into transforming yourself and getting to that death rebirth stage. And I get the sense that in the energy of your tarot cards, you are now or will very soon be in a place where you know your worth and you're able to practice empathy and compassion for other people because you know what you value, you know what your value is, and you're able to advocate for yourself, ask for what you want, and you know that you're going to receive it. And I would see that reflected in both the Devil card and the Chariot card. And honestly, also the Six of Pentacles, because, it's somebody who has high self-worth and knows what an equal exchange is and is not really ready to accept anything less than that. So I definitely see that as an important blessing coming in for you. And you might have a strong sacral chakra at this point in time because this card is associated with the sacral chakra, which I think is also associated with creativity and your emotional self. So with the Chariot card, you might be feeling extra creative and in a kind of balanced emotional energy. And I think, with the word balanced there, I think that's definitely connected with this impartiality card. And this card carries a message of somebody who is able to detach emotionally from a situation in order to see it from both sides and to make a choice that's like the best for everybody involved. This is somebody who is able to practice empathy because they can see things from the other person's point of view and they're not making decisions based on emotions. So in terms of this being a blessing, the question I asked when I pulled the cards was, what else can you tell me about the blessings coming in for pile 4? And if impartiality is a blessing, I think that's your spirit guide's way of saying, in addition to all the positive things that are coming in that we saw in the tarot reading, you are also going to be able to be in a place where you're practicing this very high vibrational, very kind of wise, benevolent leader kind of energy, especially because this card is associated with the 7th chakra, which is the crown chakra. There's a message here that you're going to be able to make decisions based on the greatest good of all, which is a great skill. That's really kind of a superpower. There's also a message with this card about, if there's advice here, it would be probably to meditate, especially if there's all this exciting energy coming in with all of that major arcana. It could, and with your 9 of Pentacles, I would assume that's also pretty exciting. So I think if there's advice here, it's probably just make sure you stay grounded and take the time to meditate. And we're seeing that reflected in your Moonology card here, this meditate and contemplate new moon in Pisces. And also the emotions are running high with the supermoon. Definitely reiterates that message for me that there's a lot of exciting things coming in, and you might be feeling emotional about it, and that's okay. That's great. And a way to kind of maybe cope with that if it does start to feel overwhelming would be to try to meditate, try to connect with your spirit guides, and try to stay in a place where you are able to get to that balanced, empathetic, I can see both sides of the situation energy, if that makes sense. And then we also have your Starseed card, which is Heraeth, and it says longing for home and homesick for the stars. And I've gotten this card a couple of times. It's associated with starseeds. So if you resonate with the idea of starseeds, I don't know a ton about them, but my basic understanding is that a starseed is like a soul that has chosen to be born in a human body on Earth for a couple of reasons. Either they have like lessons to learn, life lessons to learn, and also to help other people reach a higher vibration and descend, if that makes sense. That's my basic understanding of what starseed means. There's also a theme generally associated with starseeds of, because they're from another planet, we can sometimes feel isolated or alienated, or like we're just different. We're just vibing differently from most of the people around us, and that can include like our family members and our friends groups. There could just be something that we just know that there's something different about us, and it's like a soul deep knowing, and that can unfortunately create feelings of isolation. And with this card can also talk about being homesick and like looking for belonging in a place where we can feel like we're at home. Some people have experienced the sensation of knowing that they don't really belong on Earth, and they maybe belong on a different planet. And so I don't know if you resonate with that, but that's the basic message of this card when it comes up is recognizing that feeling and then saying that it's important to remember that your soul came here for a reason. And it's especially important to remember when we're going through the downswings in life and we're going through like a tough cycle. It's important to remember that we chose to come here in order to experience these things, including the bad stuff, for a reason. It's part of our soul's purpose was to come here and experience the good stuff and the bad stuff. So I think this might just be an acknowledgement of that, and that in context to your tarot cards, I would say this is Spirit's way of acknowledging that and saying that, like, congratulating you because you've been able to take those experiences and use that to get to a place where you're at this death rebirth stage. You've used it to transform yourself, and that's fantastic. That's part of your soul's purpose. In context to what blessings are coming in for you, I would say that this is just a message from your spirit guides that whatever has happened in your life up to the point where your blessings are coming in has also been a blessing, because we need to take the good and the bad in life. That's part of our soul's journey, our soul's purpose. And so the opportunity to learn and grow and change and experience loss and heartbreak and fear and sadness, and to work through them and transform that energy into something that we can grow and learn from, is so essential to our understanding of why our souls came to this planet. If that makes sense. I hope that made sense. So once again, pile 4, I feel like this was a shorter pile because all this stuff seems pretty straightforward to me. If I did miss anything and you're seeing like a different interpretation of these cards, please feel free to let me know in the comments. That would be helpful for me because I'm still learning and growing. I always will be. And if somebody else picked this pile, that might also be helpful for them. So just throwing that out there if that's something that you wanted to do. With that said, if you liked this video, please give it a like. If it resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments how you felt about it. If you have ideas for future videos, I would love to hear them. And if you want to see more from me, you can subscribe to my channel. I plan to put out a lot more videos. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, Pile 4.